Starting recording now, and let's see. I was heading to the Beta Quadrant. Alright, I'm there.
Bottom right.
Bottom right. Okay, and actually, I'm there. Let me drop an X into the Saw channel. My name is Charcy.
Hiya, Charcy. God.
Alright.
I'm in instance 13. Oh crap, I forget. What instance are you in?
I am instance... Oh, I'm not sure what instance I'm in. I'm transferring to 13 now, though.
Alright. I'm with inside a small nebula.
Annodominic Nebula.
OMW. The Annodominic Nebula.
Beautiful.
We can actually do the mission that the Annodominic Nebula is. It's a duty officer thing, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with those. I've done tons of colonial DOF assignments. Happens to be one of my favorites. In fact, Charcy herself, I believe, has earned the title of Colonial Magistrate. Let me just check here. Yep, Colonial Administrator. You are DV Death Knight, huh? Or is it Deathix? No, it's the
My
ship
character's name is Deathix. It's the Death Knight. The DV Death Knight. Deathix is the name of my character, and he's running the Obelisk carrier. Not the Obelisk carrier, actually. It's the Vorgon carrier from last summer event. Anti-proton build with the Dyson Sphere Swarmers.
Can't wait to see it in action. Of course, we're getting it all on film.
Along with, I'm running the Bajoran set, the deflector, impulse engine, warp core, and shields. All put into it. With also using the quantum phasic torpedo with the quantum phasic universal console to go with it, to give it a little extra kick and boost for the power. And a few other various universal consoles. And you're gonna see me in like about a minute. I'm coming straight at you. But my ship doesn't look like it's been using the Bajoran set because it is using the visual effects of the Jem'Hadar set.
Makes sense to me.
At least the two parts. There's a deep space encounter over there. We can actually start there if you like.
Let's see. Aha, the other side. Reminds me of that Hannah Montana song.
Oh dear God, no. Okay, I might be gay, but seriously, that's at least one limit that no one wants to go to. Beam me in.
Yeah, my little brother loved Hannah Montana.
I will admit that there were some songs I kind of liked, but I prefer more of her Miley Cyrus stuff that she gets.
I'm not. Well, not that I'm a huge fan of Miley Cyrus to begin with, or Hannah Montana. I'm an outlander when it comes to music.
Are you still in the load screen?
I just got out.
Yeah, same here. Whoa, did you just get hit? I don't know
Nope.
what it means getting hit. I think it's because I have more shielding than you do. Oh, and I can swarm a whole bunch of different other fleets, not just the swarmers. The type of setup for the anti-proton weapons aboard my ship is cannons and beams with a single torpedo in front. It's a forward-facing build that does a lot of damage because I maxed out the amount of turn rate that this ship got like crazy.
I imagine I've had to do that with I've had to do that with the carriers, especially because those things are big and muggy. I have to buff out the turn rate.
Carriers are my favorite things in the world, even if they're just flight decks. They're the #1 types of ships I use.
Yeah,
Along
carriers
with
are fun.
creating massive, big-ass black explosions. So, like, don't fire upon another enemy ship, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Well, Don't have. Well, I guess I could call my pets back here. I'll withdraw them.
Well, my pets are gonna swarm it in a minute, but once I get about at least 9 meters in. Okay, see the explosion coming from there?
Where are you?
Towards my end, where I'm facing?
Oh, there we go.
Big black explosion. Any ships within range of the blast radius, when the blast finally happens, all ships are instantly destroyed.
That
There's
sounds
no way of
delicious. Very delicious.
Then I can also heal any allied items. But are these like torpedoes or are these pets?
What, the green glowing things?
Yes.
Those are plasma torpedoes.
Kind of look more like pets to me, as they stop moving and then go after the next enemy if they didn't hit the first enemy.
They're special that way. Romulan specific well, I mean, it depends on the type of plasma torpedo, but these ones are special. They're from the Reputation set. They're pretty intelligent.
Oh, and I also, with the build that I have set up, I've given the ship to have a form of a drift turn, to where it swings just the acid around and it knows the ship just stays pointed in one direction.
I'd be interested in seeing that. I got your
I'm seeing it right now as we speak.
Where are you? Oh, there you are.
It's turning. The nose isn't actually moving itself at all, unless I adjust the height of the ship's angle. Right now, you're also witnessing a Jem'Hadar in action, but using a different ship than Jem'Hadar one. Very soon, once my one friend gets money as a certain gift for my birthday, I'll be receiving a Jem'Hadar carrier.
Well, that's very nice. Yeah, I've spent quite a bit of money on ships, as you could imagine at this point.
Yeah. I'm wanting the whole set, so I have a whole bunch of ships to play with, not just in the ones that I got from previous events and or the Zen store that I've already purchased in the past. But there's a special little kink to the Bajoran set that I'm using. It sucks away a form of energy from enemy vessels and then bursts it back like a shockwave.
I'll see that instantly. At some point. Yeah, I caught a bit of your stuff there. Go ahead.
You have been witnessing it. It's just that it's only able to be seen by me because I'm the one who's been using the set and not you.
Okay.
It's usually something that can only be seen by the one who's using it. The only way to get the Bajoran set is to do the event that gave you the Bajoran Interceptor, which I did. And when I'm doing that event, I was given the ability to have a Romulan version of the Bajoran Warp Core, and then the regular Warp Core, and then I did the episode mission that gave you the deflector, the impulse engine, and shield. And when doing that, having to repeat the mission over and over, I was able to figure out what exactly was doing what with the set, and it did it perfectly. So now I am running a really strong build so far with the way I've set it. The level of the weapons that I have on the ship, basically the turret in back and the 2 dual cannons in front, are Mach 14. The only one that is the epic rarity is the wide arc anti-proton dual heavy cannon with arc, crit D / DM, then crit D, and then damage times 2. Then the dual heavy cannon, well, actually the regular dual cannon, because it's not dual heavy, because the ship is not allowed to use more than 1 dual heavy cannon at a time. The dual cannon that I have is a regular dual heavy, basically, but it's anti-proton based, but it's Mach 14 with an ultra rarity setup of accuracy and crit D and damage times 2.
Hmm.
The accuracy is actually pretty good because I prefer to have a lot of accuracy to make sure I'm actually hitting my mark, especially if there are enemies behind me and my swarmers I've gotten from the Dyson Sphere, the Fleet Dyson Sphere, aren't doing any damage like they're supposed to do. I need that extra kick. But I got 2 anti-proton omnis in back. And the only way I'm able to have the 2 omnis is by doing the Sphere of Influence episode.
Okay.
I got the warp core from it, but the Omni Beam is really good to use, especially if you're wanting to do an anti-proton build. And if you're wanting to do it with beams and cannons. And a beam and a cannon build is actually pretty good to do if you're wanting to do a lot of heavy damage. And sometimes you only do 2 torpedoes, but in my case I prefer just to do 1 because I like to make sure that my ship is mainly facing the enemy that I'm firing at, to where the speed that you see that my ship is going right now is at its lowest impulse possible.
Intriguing.
And I go at that speed within story missions and or PvE missions and also deep space encounters like we're in right now. We still haven't warped out yet, but nonetheless you see that I'm moving at a slow pace. Slow
Indeed.
and steady wins the race is what I've been told in the past, not just for real life things, but also in games. Because if you go too fast, you miss out on a lot.
Well, I can appreciate the depth of that proverb.
Yeah, you miss out a lot if you go too fast. You skip out on too much. But if you take the time to go slow and steady, you'll win everything that you need to win.
Well, tell you what, if you make me the leader, let's see if we can do a mission together that will put that ship to the test.
Alright. Oh, I think I only made you Q group leader. Hold on.
I'll leave the system real quick.
I just made you squad leader, I think.
Let's see here.
I'm leaving the system now myself.
Okay, beautiful. Now, follow me to the Alhena system.
Hold on. Sorry about the weird screaming in the background. It's a weird movie going on in my background. I apologize for that.
I actually haven't heard that. I probably could if I had my better headphones on.
Yeah, it might have been being recorded in the feed. Sorry about that, people. But the base setup for, if I set my stats for what my weapons power, my shield power, my engine power, and my battery power is for the setup, it's all set to 50%. I set it all to 50. But with the sets, with the ship set and the weapon setup I have for the ship, it's not going down to 50. Everything isn't evening out. What is still increased at a max number is the shield. It's set to be 50-50, but in fact it's at 63/50. Then the engines are at 52/50, and then the battery is at 63/50. But the weapons are at 50-50.
I'm not sure I have an answer to that. I know there's. I tell you what, my it's between my human and my Gorn. Their power levels can go quite high, especially I'm sure that's due to a certain buff I have activated.
Well, I think I know what it is what's doing it is the skill setup layout that automatically happens when you play a Jem'Hadar. When you start out as a Jem'Hadar character, you're instantly set to level 60. And then you do the Jem'Hadar chapter, and then you're set to 65 after the whole chapter is done. And then when the whole chapter is done, you get to do regular chapters and or skills and stuff that you normally wouldn't have been able to do when you're playing a Federation character.
Which, yeah.
With this class, you don't see when you look at your mission setup and your mission log. Oh, you shared a mission with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just now accepted it. I don't see a thing there, but hold on. Oh, now I see it. But with this character, as I was saying, when you start out, when you're looking at your episodes to see like more chapters or anything like that, like how you normally would see on a normal Federation character or a Klingon character or a Romulan, you would see a whole bunch of chapters. But when you first start out as a Jem'Hadar, nope. Only the Jem'Hadar chapter is there. But only until you complete that chapter, Klingon War and all the others that you would normally do on a Federation character are there. That's what you get to see then. But not until you've completed that chapter, and that's what I've done. And that chapter is a really fun chapter to do, and I highly recommend it for anyone who's watching. Hey, do this chapter. Do a type of character like this. It is fun to do. My favorite type of class I like to do is science and tactical. I'm not a big fan of engineering all too much, but my number one favorite as of now is science, especially if you're playing a Jem'Hadar, because it's really cool. It is beyond fun because the skill setup layout is beyond amazing. Because also you get 2 sets of reputation skill setups completely set up to Mach 5 automatically when you're on a science. I don't know what it is for tactical or engineering, but for science, what you get fully unlocked is the Iconian reputation set to tier 5. Then the Nikari, I think it is for I can't really read what it is, but
Nukari. Or is it the Nukara?
It's the Nukara. Thank you. The Nukara something force, strike force, is set to tier 5 as well. And when you're possibly seeing in the previous parts of the video, and what you've seen yourself, Josh, is that you see a form of a green stream coming around our shields. It's a form of resistance and healing as we're taking damage and dealing it as well. We're healing and repairing ourselves as we're doing our damage. There are also weapons and stuff throughout random episodes within the game that you can do to get special weapons that bonus those reputation skills and skill traits to get more of a healing, so you're basically doing a hell of a lot more damage than what you normally would be doing. At the same time, you're healing yourself and you're not taking a lick of damage whatsoever. But it depends on the type of playstyle too. Everyone is different. Like yourself, Josh, you're different. You play a special playstyle, and I play a special playstyle. My type of style I like to do is basically the ducking maneuver. I just sit there, do nothing, and let my swarmers do all the work. Half the time.
Which I've enjoyed before. I have dabbled with that. Are you almost to the Alhena system?
I'm here. I'm supposed to just click the thingy that says respond to something signal.
Yep. Hopefully this doesn't glitch out, please, Lord. I hope this doesn't glitch out.
Don't glitch out. Don't glitch out.
All right.
But yeah. And as everyone sees here, to tell what type of player type of character that Josh is playing as, he's playing as an engineering Romulan, and I'm playing as a science Jem'Hadar. The Jem'Hadar species, sadly, you can only do a male character. It's all you get to do, but it is worth it because you don't have to particularly be all finicky with what your character looks like. They all basically look like the same. So if you make a certain, outfit layout of what your character itself looks like, and then you can just save that outfit, transfer it over to all your other bridge officers and just make them look the same, and the only thing you have to do is just alter their face if you don't want them to look the same. But if you want them to be the same height, the same body type, you just have to save the outfit, and then instantly it's there for them to be look-alike. And the type of build that you're using, what type of build are you using right now, Josh?
Well, it's funny because I've never actually modeled this ship towards a specific type of damage class. Right now, it's actually just running with 3 different sets. The prominent damage type is plasma, but I've also got some Tetrion weapons, and I think, let me see here.
That gets me right there, involving the energy types too, because I don't know if anyone really knows about energy types all too well. Is that with this ship that I'm running, its base weapon setup is Chronoton torpedoes and Tetrion weapons.
That battle was underwhelming.
Yeah, it kind of was. I really didn't have to do anything. I don't even have all 12 of my pets out. But back to what I was saying about energy types. There are certain energy types that do special things, like, for instance, Tetrion. Tetrion has a special bonus skill and ability for various versions of Tetrion nonetheless. Tetrion itself, just base Tetrion, nothing bonus of being a high rarity, just plain common Tetrion, drains shield energy. It basically eats the shields like crazy.
Yep, that's what it's modeled for.
But if you mix it with another energy type, like plasma, for instance, plasma itself does damage over time. Am I correct on this?
Yes, correct. And it also has some minor shield penetration depending on the weapon that's using it.
Yes, that too. Anti-proton, I'm not totally positive what the bonus for anti-proton is.
I believe it's critical damage.
Like. It's really cool.
I believe anti-proton is mostly critical damage. I believe that's what is going on.
I'm hovering it over my dual heavy cannon right now, and I'm looking at it. Yeah, it does have a lot of critical damage into them, a lot. And when you're wanting to do a specific build, you have to be very cautious on what type of energy types you put together. Right now, I do have other ships that I can use. Like, for instance, like I said in the past, my Bajoran Interceptor. Its weapon layout is 5 forward weapons and 2 aft, and then it has a special weapon type that is like the voice of the prophets.
Okay. All right.
And it basically does a lot of physical damage.
Which is, yeah, but, I mean, I've actually, yeah, that's nice. Especially because physical damage is supposedly, I mean, I know there's certain weapons that actually penetrate
physical damage
shields
is technically known as kinetic damage.
Yeah.
Kinetic and physical are basically the same word when it comes to this game. You just have to be smart on how you say it. Like, for instance, if Josh opens up his reputations menu on his character for you all to see, because you can't really see my screen, but you can see his. On his reputations, you see that there are a lot of reputations there. And if he opens up the Task Force Omega reputation, I believe when you get that reputation up to tier 2, you have the ability to get a special energy beam weapon known as the Kinetic Cutting Beam. It's an omnidirectional beam that does a lot of kinetic damage, also known as physical damage. It bypasses shields and hits your hull like crazy, and you're taking a lot of damage. But it all depends on the build you're using as well, because you need to make sure that you keep its level to the level that you are now. Even though I will admit that my weapons that I have on my ship are not all the same level, I'm still doing a lot of damage. Recently, I discovered in the records of the damage I've been doing, I asked one of the higher-ups of the gaming officials to record exactly how much damage I've been doing lately in one of the latest PvE missions, like the newest one that they have out. And the latest damage I've been doing, I've been doing over 2 million points of damage. Alone.
I actually, yeah, that's
alone myself, and that's with my swarmers. Without my swarmers, it's half that. That's exactly 1 million points of damage in one sitting. And that's when I'm going after an entire fleet of ships. So if I'm going after an entire fleet of ships that are supposed to be 100 times more stronger than me, more better than me, I'm doing a lot of damage. But it all depends on if I'm paying attention to what skills and consoles I'm using too. Because as you saw before, during the deep space encounter that we did earlier, the big blast like thing that you saw that kind of looked like a big black hole was a special console that shoots out, that has a time limit of for a cooldown. I don't necessarily remember what the cooldown is, but what it does for kinetic damage is about 15,272.2 kinetic damage to all targets within the target range. So if there are any ships within the exact range of the ship that was originally hit, then you'll see. Because that also does a special damage bonus to all the other ships. So once I fire at that one ship is taking damage, of course, but that also has a lag time until the actual explosion happens of kinetic damage, and it hits all the other ships around and makes them all explode. But it also depends on the level type of the ship and the person who I'm hitting too. Because if, for instance, if I decided to PvP Josh here in his character, I'm highly betting I won't kill him, but I will most likely kill all his pets if they're within range of his ship. And if I wanted to, I can be sitting directly next to him and just fire off that weapon, because it has a 360-degree arc of firing range. I just have to be within range of him, because it has a distance range problem too. You have to be within a distance range, at least less than 10 meters away to do the damage. And you've seen this firsthand, right?
Mm-hmm. I have.
Am I getting closer to you?
No, you're actually quite a distance away now. I was wondering if you'd like to run a test with me, Raven. I heard earlier about...
I would love to.
I heard earlier about a difficulty scaling issue, and I was wondering if you'd like to see if we can get this on Elite difficulty. What I'll need you to do is I'll need you to head to your in-progress course and change it to Elite difficulty. That's what I have mine as default.
Where I have my in-progress set up?
Yeah.
As its difficulty?
Yes.
I set that to Elite? Well, we could always just do a PvE mission and do that on Elite mode and make it sure it's private. We could.
But
that means we'd also have to find other members to join us.
Right. So I'm here at another system. I'm here at 4.2. And I'm assuming
I'm heading towards you right now.
Beautiful. And now what we're also going to test at the same time is to see if Jem'Hadar can come into these instances, even though they haven't, gone anywhere in the earlier story missions. Oh,
I overshot it, but I'm facing towards you. Let me turn my lowest impulse in and see if I can get towards you.
So, after you set it to Elite, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter...
I'm already at Elite mode right now.
Alright, I'm going to enter...
But we need to make sure the group's difficulty is set to Elite. Can you double check that for me?
I will see if I can here. Because I know...
I'm supposed to enter the system too? It says that you're moving map.
Yes.
I'll enter the system too then. This, system right now, exactly what are we going to see so the viewers can tell us... Well, so the viewers can tell what we're going to be doing beforehand while we're in our load screens.
The long and short of it is that I don't remember. Because
I don't remember.
I've done so many. I used to do a whole bunch of patrol hopping. I loved doing patrols because they're usually quick and simple. So I can test quick setups like, okay, I did this adjustment, let's go back in and do this. Alright, let's see. Just mean
I did one mission that was like this kind of one where you just go up to a system, you just click enter the system, and then it's like basically an entire mission started already. And one of them was like basically you're fighting constantly Borg, and it has like a few rounds where you just have to do certain tasks, and it's quite easy to do. By the way, you showed them the Task Force Omega reputation on your side, right? So what I was talking?
Yep, roughly. I tried to follow along what you were saying there, but I got to it and I managed to show the kinetic cutting beam. So, where exactly do I adjust, at least for the next patrol, where exactly do I adjust the team difficulty?
You go to episodes, in progress, I mean, in your, missions log, whatever, that's there. And then it should say missions and then team off to the left.
Missions and team.
And then I clicked team, and right now, so far, the difficulty is at elite. That's what I'm seeing it at.
Maybe, because I don't feel like I should be this powerful. Maybe
well, you are level 65, and usually missions stay at their base level.
Let's see, in progress, team.
And it only increases the number of vessels within the mission, too. That is also another thing that we need to bring up, too. The higher your level does not really matter, because the level difficulty of the mission only pertains to them having more than the original number of vessels or enemies within the mission itself. So, like, originally, I bet for this mission there was, like, maybe 1 or 2 ships that we're firing at, instead of 3 or 4 at a time. Higher the difficulty, more the enemies. But that does not mean the enemies' level themselves will be increased.
Right. Yep, so, yeah.
For instance, like, there's a Foundry mission that a lot of people like to do known as Loot-O-Matic 3000, Loot-O-Matic 4000, and then Loot-O-Matic 8000. Sorry it jumps around between numbers, but those are the exact ones that are there. And they're basically looting missions where basically you just sit there doing nothing and have all your weapons facing forward, and you're just firing like crazy at the enemies, because their shields are instantly down because they're within a special field that shuts their shields down. Like you see when you're looking at on his screen, on Josh's screen right now, you see something that looks like a shape of a ship, basically the same model shape of his ship, and it has 4 white bars in all 4 corners. Those are what you see of his shields. And basically in that field that I was talking about before, imagine that those white bars not there at all. If he was inside that field, he would have no shields, no form of protection other than his ship's hull. He'd have to find a way to make sure that he's constantly healing himself, which in the NPCs within the Ludomatic missions, they don't have that ability. But their levels within that mission do not increase at all. It just stays the same level that they're based at. Basically, if you're doing the Klingon War and you're fighting those type of NPCs, and if those are the only NPCs that you've fought so far, the Ludomatic mission itself takes those exact NPCs to you and lets you fight them again, and you can test out your builds by doing the Ludomatic missions, because that's how I do it. Is that I do it there, and I do the Ludomatic missions, and I test out my builds with my pets, and also my photonic fleets and special bonus fleets that I have for my special character I'm playing as now. That you see the Jem'Hadar ships floating around. There's like one right behind me. If Josh comes over to me right now,
just
before he warps out.
OMW.
There is a Jem'Hadar ship directly behind me. It's a Jem'Hadar battleship. That is a form of a photonic fleet ship right there. Photonic fleets, you can have a photonic fleet on any side. The Klingon side, the Romulan side, the Federation side, and also for the Jem'Hadar. But for the Jem'Hadar, for instance, is only Jem'Hadar ships. Nothing Federation based, even though this character is Federation aligned. It's only Jemadar ships. But let me see here. You're aligned to the Federation as well, right?
Correct.
And if your character was a science one, because that's basically the only class that allows you to do a photonic fleet. If your character was a science one, you would have summoned a whole horde of science photonic fleet worth of Romulan vessels like crazy. They would have been cloaking in and out, off and on, like there's nobody's business. But there's a little kink to that. There's multiple different versions because Romulan vessels have a special set of skill points type of thing that you can do, where you can summon a massive singularity and suck your enemies in, and then you just fire on like there's no tomorrow. But then there's also a thing where you're able to spawn massive clones of yourself too. Where oh hey, which one is which? Which one's the real one? Hello. What is what? But
are you going to tell them about the photonic reinforcements trait?
I don't remember about that trait. Wait, is that the one that that you have, or is that the one that I have?
It's one that my it's one that my very first science character has. It's very handy. You're going to love this. All right, so at least one of your holographic reinforcements will actually linger with you. And you can build holographic reinforcements over time that last longer than your typical, holographic reinforcements that you summon. So you can actually build
the photonic fleet, for instance, is one that doesn't really last for long, but it lasts long enough until they've done what they're supposed to do. But yours will last longer than that.
Right. So out of the quick little collection of holograms that you summon, one of those will actually linger with you, almost like you calling in reinforcements that like if the command ability, I believe it's fleet support or distress call. It lasts about 5 minutes instead of like 30 seconds, which is cool.
Which I really like that too. I do have a Romulan myself, but he's KDF aligned. KDF stands for the Klingon Empire.
Yep. Unfortunately,
basically
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I was going to say, unfortunately, our tests have concluded that there is a difficulty scaling issue, unfortunately. So we're not going to get a real challenge unless we duel each other.
Yeah, there's that, but I know I'll lose because I'm not really good at PvP, and I'm not really built for it either, but...
Well, with hands or time...
Back to what I was...
Go ahead. Keep going.
We're interrupting each other.
Go ahead.
But back to what I was saying. What I mean by aligned is that, like the Jemadar, like what I am now, and he is Romulan. To a certain point within our base storylines that we start out with, our characters at a certain level point are required to choose an allegiance of either the Klingon Empire or the Federation. We both chose the Federation, but on my Romulan that I have, he is the Klingon Empire aligned. But there's not really a difference between the two other than the types of ships you get to do as a bonus. For his Romulan here, he could not just use Romulan vessels. He can use Federation vessels. Like, for instance, I'll switch a ship right now, and you all can see just above him that you're seeing my Vorgon carrier. It's a T6 vessel, of course. But if any of you have seen the Star Trek Next Generation series, towards the end where Captain Picard gets sent back and forth through time, he gets rescued by his first officer. Where are you going?
I'm heading to New Romulus now.
Oh, I was gonna show my ship really quick to them all.
We're gonna get a better view if we actually enter a system.
Oh, yes, you are right. I have just now realized that. I am now following you. as we speak. But as I was saying, for the episodes of that TV series, you see that the Enterprise Next Generation ship has a third nacelle. It's called the Yamato class, is what, at least what I call it. But it's a dreadnought cruiser. It has the ability to spawn at least one hangar bay's worth of fighters. But if I decide to place a swarmer inside that hangar bay, it would spawn about 6 fighter vessels to fight alongside me. But if I decide to do, for instance, a Delta Flyer, if any of you've seen a Delta Flyer being flown around on the USS Voyager, there you can have at least that, but you only get 4 of those vessels. You don't get to have more than that. Sometimes some hangar pets give you only 2, or you just get 1 hangar pet. Because sometimes some hangar pets can be so big, you can only have so many in one sitting for certain types of ships' hangar bays. And that's exactly it. But for this one, I also have an actual version of the Enterprise Next Generation ship. That it's a cruiser, it's an engineering vessel. So is the Dreadnought version of it that has a third nacelle. It's an engineering vessel, but it can also be used as a science or tactical. But on it, like how my ship and how his ship is, if you open up your officer layout, do you have a special made officer on board? Like a command or intelligence or something like that?
Devex is a command.
Yep, a command officer has special made abilities. There's also other various officers too, like a temporal officer. Like my ship right now, my Vorgon, it uses a temporal officer to where it can create a massive sphere of energy where it deals a small number of kinetic damage. Basically, my ship deals a lot of kinetic damage. At the same time, it deals a lot of anti-proton and quantum damage as well. So I'm dealing out a lot of different various versions of damage. But his ship right there that you're seeing, if he opens it up to where you're able to see his weapon setup and layout, that you see different colored weapons. Like, oh, there's plasma, there's tetrion, and then there's something else, I think, right? Is there?
I don't. I mean, guess I could mention my kinetic damage types, such as I think. No, actually, I only have 1 torpedo type, but I do have Tholian web mine launchers. They're mines, but it says it's classified apparently as physical damage, not kinetic for some reason. They changed the term.
Yes, some things do that as well. But other than doing space like what we're doing right now, there are a lot of things that you can do on ground. Like, if you play a tactical character, but you want to have a drone or a pet or something that flies around and does damage too, like how a engineering character can do and can have, you can get special kit modules that do a lot of damage. They're known as special drones. They're universal kit modules that can be placed on any type of character class. I kind of overshot Romulus. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'll
be there in a minute. I actually went all the way towards Nimbus. Shit. Excuse my language. Turning around. I'm gonna do a quantum slipstream really quick. Oh yes, quantum slipstream. That reminds me. For certain players, if you're just starting out as a level 1 player, you cannot use quantum slipstream until a certain specific level. And I believe, Josh, do you know the level?
You can start doing quantum slipstream at level 50.
Yep, there you go. But if you have already pre-made gear, like a friend, for instance, can craft you gear, and there's a lot of flexibility when it comes to crafting. And when I mean a lot of flexibility, I mean a lot. You can create space weapons, space equipment, space gear, you name it, along with ground gear, ground weapons, ground equipment, you name it. It's all there. But it depends on the level of your school that you're going to be able to do certain things. You can only do so much involving crafting when your level is so low. For instance, what level is one of your schools right now, Josh?
Well, my highest one is level 16, my lowest being 3.
Yeah. Higher the level, better of the rarity pop out of equipment. For instance, like how I talked before about the rarity of my weapons. A friend crafted me these weapons long time ago. One of them was the dual heavy wide arc anti-proton cannon. I'm not really saying the name right, but it's exactly those words. But its rarity is the highest rarity possible. I haven't re-engineered it at all in any way. And it's still doing a lot of damage. Re-engineering is something that was just brought to the game. If you started out about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to do re-engineering. But as you go, when you do missions, like how you saw us do, like you saw on his screen, on him collecting loot and stuff, with this being said, if you get equipment like weapons or stuff like that, I can't go to Romulus.
That's unfortunate. Well, let's head to the Sol system then.
Let's go to the Sol system.
You know, half the time when we're making these videos, I'm half expecting Tyler to just like rip us, or rip me at least. He left he left a comment on one of my my videos, Fleet Shenanigans 2, and he in the comment section he said Fed Fleet Shenanigans. So he's already. I mean, I tell you what.
Yeah. Let's switch an instance since we're here in the map. Let's move to number 9. It has least amount of players on it.
Okay.
Because more players means more lag for me on my end. Sorry, everyone. We're quickly switching maps. It's technically the same map, but one with less players on it.
Of course, my graphics and frame rate is nice and creamy.
Yeah, nice and creamy, but mine isn't.
Oh, I mean, you've seen my videos, so...
Yes, I have, and I love them. And everyone, you should be watching more of his videos. Believe me, you should.
Well, they're okay.
I'm also subscribed as one of his subscribers, so if anyone wants to, hit me up, I'm there. I'm not really good at doing YouTubing myself. I mainly just use others to do YouTubing myself, but it still works. But in right now, once he transfers to the same map as me, I'm moving over to an old Earth space dock that they no longer use because they're using a newer model now. But people come over here to do videos and stuff, to do some old-fashioned stuff if people use the older model ships, like the old Enterprise with Spock and Captain Kirk and all that. Ships like those. By the way, you can use those type of ships in this game. You just have to pay for them within the Zen store, or if you create a character that's within that time period, which you can do so, but it just takes longer to do certain things depending on the class type you choose. But the reason why we're coming over here to this exact area is because the sun itself in the map beats directly down onto the space station. It's where you get good lighting to see our ships.
And you could even see the shadows on my computer.
Yes, the shadowing and the shading of what everything looks like. But right now, as I said I was going to do before, let me quickly collect this one thing from one of my reputations, because as we are doing things, I'm boosting up the level of a reputation as we speak. But now let's see. Let's switch to my Dreadnought, like I told you I was going to do. I call it the DV Lady Death because, well, I like the old movie known as Lady Death. But right here, what you see is the Jem'Hadar set, with the exception of the warp core you get from the Sphere of Influence, with the anti-proton build, mainly beams, but 2 turrets and 1 dual heavy cannon.
Oh yeah.
But that's just for me. And the quantum phasic torpedo on the special console that goes with the torpedo.
Wait till you see your ship on these graphics. Wait till you see it. Oh,
Yeah.
it's delicious. I'm like right on top of your saucer right now.
The original layout for the ship. So I'm going to remove the set, and you're able to see the ship's itself's original coloring. See, this is what it originally looks like, but technically the ship itself is not supposed to look the way it looks now. You see, the saucer section of the ship isn't supposed to look like this. I just altered it. That's a form of graphical change on what anyone can do. You can go in when you get a ship and you can change what the graphics detailing of what a ship looks like. So, for instance, if I don't like the nacelles of what my ship looks like, I can change them to look like something else. Or the pylons, or the hull, or the neck, or the saucer itself, like I told you I did before. You can change that stuff. But if Josh right now, if he opens up his thing to look to see where his weapons and stuff is at, and he shows you the visual slots, you get a set of 3 visual slots: a deflector, an impulse, and engine. Some episodes give you the opportunity to collect ship sets of a deflector, impulse, and engine, and shield. Sometimes there's a added bonus of getting a warp core, like there is for the Bajoran set that was given. The warp core itself was a additional bonus because it was added there as a reward item. I'm using the Bajoran set because it's a good set to use, and it's a good set to work with this ship, especially with the warp core I'm using. Along with, you should see 2 Delta Flyers. I'm spawning the other 2 now in our little background. They're small little ships, but they're directly in front of mine. If Josh, do you see them really good on your end?
Well, I actually got a nice shot of them coming out of the aft section of your ship there. Yes. Really nice. Wait to see it.
I can't wait to see it. But you see the 4 little vessels. These are basically considered hangar bay pets. These pets basically have a set of 4 commands. One of the commands is basically targeting what you're targeting. Basically, they'll fire at whatever you're firing at. So, for instance, if I'm targeting Josh here, and we're in a PvP mission, and we're basically fighting each other, if I'm targeting him, my pets will go after him instead of coming after his pets. If I decided to change their command to, I remember what the one is,
Escort. That's another one. Causes pets to defend the current friendly target.
Yep, the current friendly target, and that current friendly target is you. Unless you're targeting a friendly person. So, for instance, if me and Josh here did a PvE mission, my pets will swarm around him, circle around in a formation around his ship, protecting him. And if he starts to take damage, my pets will go after whatever's attacking him, as long as I'm not taking damage. But if I take damage, they'll leave him and come and protect me. Because originally, your own pets, if, for instance, if you have the same type of ship or a ship that uses pets, and you're originally trying to protect someone else, but if you're taking damage, your pets' #1 priority is you. You alone. No one else. Even though that your first priority is your friend, your partner in crime here. Like, for instance, my partner in crime right now is Josh at the present point in time. But you can see right now his swarmers below my ship are in a small circular formation, are coming after me, and he has more than 4. I only get to spawn 4. But if I switch out to another ship, which what I'm going to be doing is I'm showing you my battle cruiser is just like the Bajorian Interceptor, which I'll show you very shortly. But my battle cruiser uses a layout of 5 forward weapons. I can't necessarily remember the layout of how many aft, but give me a second here, and once I'm fully loaded in, I'll see it. It'll be 3 aft. And what it is doing of its weapon setup is it's only cannons and turrets and 2 torpedoes. Plain quantum, but still good nonetheless. But what the cannons and turrets, what I have and what I'm using is that a single Tetrion turret and a single Polaron, and then 2 Polaron dual cannons, and then 2 Tetrion dual cannons. And there's a dual detail here that I'm using a dual heavy Polaron and a dual heavy Tetrion. At the same time, I'm using plain dual versions of those dual heavies in my front. Sadly, if any of you are new to the game and you're asking, can I put a dual heavy in back or a dual cannon in back? No, you cannot. That same goes for dual beam banks when it comes to what you see Josh is using right now. If he shows you his weapons, and he hovers his mouse over the one that is the one that's a beam bank. Beam banks can only go in your forward section of your ship, never your aft. I necessarily not really know why, but that's exactly how it happens. You can't put anything in your aft that doesn't go there, because in your aft section, like if you look at my ship, you see how small my aft of my ship is? No beam weapons are going to be fired from my nacelles, only from the hull or my saucer section of my small ship. Same goes for my Vorgon and my Dreadnought that you saw. The same goes for Josh's ship. Things that use a form of a dual setup of dual heavy or dual beam bank based, those types of things cannot go in your aft section. Only turrets, single cannons, because yes, there are single cannons that look like turrets, and those are quite easy to craft and also obtain. But right now, since of the certain special event of the Jem'Hadar, Polaron is the #1 weapon to choose from. Is that correct, Josh here?
Well, I'm not sure if... I'm not sure the popularity of Polaron at this point, and I'm not sure what Polaron is popular for, but I know that the Jem'Hadar do come... That is their racial weapon type.
Yes, it is. Some races, like the Romulan, for instance, mainly pertains to using Polaron. Not Polaron, plasma. Sorry.
Yep. No, that's fine.
And the Federation, humans, Vulcan, anything else that is aligned with the Federation that starts out as a Federation vessel, uses phaser. And phaser only.
Let me quiz you. Let me quiz you, Raven. What do Klingons primarily use?
Klingons use disruptors.
You got it.
There are multiple different races, and there's also different versions of energy types too. Like, for instance, if some of the reputations that you have... Hold on, give me a sec here. My cat is trying to eat my cord. Yes, I have a black cat. And if anyone's all voodoo-y, wishy, like, sorry. I'll quit with you. But yes, as I was saying, there are different versions of each energy type. Like, for instance, how you see disruptors are the color green. There are different versions of disruptors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to fight my cat for my cords here.
Tell you what, can you can you go enter the Nimbus system?
Nimbus. Nimbus. Yes, I can.
All right. While you're talking about disruptors, let me also fit a Klingon ship into here.
Oh, yes. I forgot. If anyone has seen the episode series of Discovery, the what's the name of that ship again that you have? I'm trying to remember it.
Sarcophagus.
The sarcophagus, the massive Klingon ship from that version of Star Trek Discovery. That massive sarcophagus ship is the same ship that he uses on his Klingon side right now. And if he's loading into the character that's using it, that's what you get to see, is the giant sarcophagus. Originally, he's not using the same bridge that originally comes with it because he did not get the ship during the event that they had for the Discovery series when it came out.
Tell you what, Raven. There's actually some good lighting at DS9. You can come here instead.
Deep Space Nine right now? I prefer to go to Nimbus because we can easily go to the ground on Nimbus and we can show the viewers what our ground skills and setups look like. And what I was talking about before involving the special drones that non-engineering players get to use. So that will
go ahead,
give
Raven.
them what I told them. No problem, I already said it.
Quick question, Raven. Is Lady Shadowblade our beloved Queen Mother? Is that what her handle is on Star Trek, or is that somebody else?
No, her name is Queen.
Queen. Where is Queen? I know I have her here somewhere.
Queenie. I believe on your list there should be a player named Queenie with a pink little Pokemon character with a Ash Ketchum hat on. If you look in my Discord's roster, you should see her. She's showing online right now. She's known as Queen Mother in my roster.
What about her handle in Star Trek Online?
I'm not totally positive on what all her handles are because I don't really pay attention to that. That also reminds me to another fact that everyone should know is that when they start playing the Star Trek game, you have an in-game handle in there that everyone has that you see in some of the chat boxes. If Josh, you open up your chat box, I'll type something in Saw Chat. It'll be like a whole bunch of random letters and numbers, some gobbledygook there, and it's from me. You see my handle, it says my name of my character that I'm on, and then it says @gay GMAELOVER with the I think that's a hashtag symbol with 6202. That is my full handle, but at least for this character. What changes for the handle is the character's name in the handle. So if you're on another character, so if I switch to my Romulan, it'll be named Raven-W @gay game lover. Technically, I misspelled the word game by accident, but I'm stuck with that handle. You really can't change it too. So when it comes to handles, you can't change those. So you're stuck with what you get. So if you choose to do something really funny and messed up, sorry, bucko, you're screwed. That's what you get. But you're at Nimbus, right?
Almost there.
I just entered the Nimbus system. I'm switching to the Bajoran Interceptor because I said I was going to go to the Bajoran Interceptor for them all. And right now, as we speak, oh my god, there are actually some ships that you might want to see, folks. I believe it's one of the new Vorgon ships, and then here's the version of the Enterprise that I have that only has the 2 nacelles, but someone's here with it. If you get here in time before they disappear,
I might.
Oh, by the way, for certain maps and/or places like Nimbus or the Sol system of any one of the three sides of Romulan, Klingon, or Federation, whatever, and Jem'Hadar, each one has a different type of Sol system. And sometimes some Sol systems, like Nimbus and/or Darzana Station, for instance, only have one spatial instance that you go into. It's like a form of a map. You still there, Josh?
I'm still here. Sorry, I was contemplating things.
Yeah. As they were doing that, I'm gonna switch to my Bajoran interceptor. Sadly, the two ships that I was talking about already disappeared. But you don't get to see them. But you might get to see an older version of a ship that you get to start out with. And I believe you just warped in as I warped out to switch a ship. And you can compare the size of his ship to the Bajoran Interceptor. It's a small little fighter just above his ship. And if you see it just right, I am a very tiny little fighter, but big things come in small packages. And you see here, two other ships are in this map with us. There are different versions of Federation ships. One's, I believe, a science vessel, and one's a form of an escort class ship. My ship that you see is an escort class, but carriers like the sarcophagus here is a engineering and mainly science type class ship. But what type of class character are you playing as?
I am an engineer, my favorite class.
Yes, that's his favorite class. Everyone has their favorite, and what I recommend is not to just choose what we say to choose, other than what I'm about to say to you now. I would prefer you all to just take the opportunity to create one of each class, try it out for a while, see how it works, and go from there.
Which is a good thing to do.
And if we beam down to Nimbus 3, if anyone doesn't mind.
Nope, not at all. Beaming down now.
I'm beaming down now, and we'll both have both of our bridge officers. By the way, that also brings me to another fact too, is that in this game, like some other games, you do have a form of a group of officers or team members that come with you at all times. But for certain games, sometimes it's only one, sometimes it's only 2 or 3. But in this game, it mainly pertains to either having 1, 2, 3, or 4 at a time. Unless you're grouped with someone, and when you're grouped with someone, you'll see that, oh hey, you either only get to have 2 of your officers and the other player gets to have 1. Or it's the other way around.
There we go.
It all depends. But now you see his character is a Gorn. It's the lizard people. And he has a variation of species, I believe. Do you mind telling us what they are?
Well, over here, at what I have my mouse over on the far left, is a Nausicaan. And then we have a hologram. And then over on my right, nearest right, is a Orion. And then a Klingon over on the far right.
What's the hologram of?
That is holographic Lita of the Mirror Universe. She's based off of Lita from the Mirror Universe. I got her... Oh, go ahead.
That brings me to another fact. If you all like alternate realities, like from the episodes of the series of different things, the series itself pertains to having alternate realities of Star Trek. When he says mirror universe, exactly, it's a mirror universe. There, in our universe of Star Trek, you see a good Captain Picard and his first officer and his lovely crew from the Next Generation series, along with USS Voyager, that series as well. Everyone's all kind and nice and sweet, and everything's going all right. But when it comes to the Mirror Universe side, imagine their sweet and innocence and kindness that they have reversed. They're being evil, maniacal, horrifying, and just plain old disturbing. That's exactly what the Mirror Universe is the evil side of what the Federation could be. Not what it is now. Right now, as we speak, I'm on the Federation side, and everyone's all kind and nice. But if they gave us the opportunity to go to the Mirror Universe, I bet there'd be a whole lot of players just beaming their butts over there. They will, because there are a lot of players who like to be evil and like to be mean, not just towards NPCs, but, you know, towards other players. In which, I'm not saying that everyone's like that, I'm just saying that there are people here that like to act like that. It all depends on who you're talking to. Like Josh, for instance, he is kind, sweet, and very nice, and down to earth. And
yes.
Believe me, he is that nice. Because he made me items and he didn't charge me, and oh my god, I feel like I owe him.
Well, my dad's the same way. He had just about as much to do with that too. My dad is very much like me. So.
And if anyone wants to know what a Jem'Hadar looks like, look at my character, the one that's named Deathix, just in front of his. And all my bridge officers look exactly the same, except for little added details. And we'll let's actually run over this direction behind this structure and away from all the other players to where we can show everyone better on what we're looking at.
When you see this video, Raven, the graphics here does your officers and yourself justice when it comes to the outfits. The material has a nice sheen when the sun hits it.
Okay, I think here is good enough. Oh, there's a player running off to do his. Oh no, wait, that's just my officer. Whatever. Okay, so my officers, like how I said before, you're able to like basically make an outfit on your exact character itself. That's what I did. I made a specific outfit, specific body type when I create the character. And I started out making my character look exactly the way he does now. That's what I wanted him to be. But I saw my bridge officers. When I started out doing the ground missions in the first chapter, I'm like, huh, I don't like that. I don't like what they look like at all. I didn't like what they looked like. So, I saved what my outfit looked like on my character, and I basically pasted it onto them. And they look exactly like me. They're my exact doubles. Except for a slight difference. You see that my character has shoulder pads and a chest plate. But their character, my bridge officers, don't. All they have is the hip pads, the belt, and the wrist and upper arm setup. That's it. Nothing more. And how you see how on Federation characters, like a normal human or something like that, you see that there's a badge on their chest. There is a badge on my chest for my character and for his bridge officers. But if Josh can zoom in on one of my bridge officers here, the center of the chest is where the badge is.
Let's see here.
That's what Jem'Hadar characters have for a badge, is directly in the center.
Yep, got a good fair shot of that. Tell you what, wait right outside here and I'll be right back.
Alright. I'll talk to the people here and everything as you're going to do whatever you're doing. And this map here that we're on is called Nimbus 3. It's a planet that has a bunch of bug-like creatures on it, giant worms that come from the ground, and then giant scorpions that you have to fight too, along with bad pirates and all sorts of things that you fight. And it's a full chapter's worth of episodes that mainly pertain to you mainly fighting on the planet's surface the whole time. And a few, like an episode point here and there that takes you to space, and that's it. But mainly a few parts. And there's multiple different races that we don't get to play as yet until the game has a few more major updates within the story arcs. Because we have major story arcs that continue and everything. And when Josh comes to find me, I'm over here towards the area where the giant worms are at, that little ancient temple town area, if you don't mind coming towards that area.
Sure thing.
I'm on a cliff looking down at a bunch of the worms, and there's two different sizes. There's basically the children's size, that's like really small, the baby worms, and then there's these giant, big worms that are basically considered queens. And there's the same thing that goes for the scorpions. But where you saw us first spawn in, directly behind my character at that point, when we first spawned in the previous point of the video, you would see that out in the distance that you saw weird, like, spider-like creatures. Well, those aren't spiders. Those are actually giant scorpions. And when I talked about different energy types for for space, there are different energy types for ground as well. And right now for my squad, if you don't mind me disappearing for a sec while you're doing the fighting.
Sure.
What energy weapon types are you using for your character right now and his bridge officers?
Well, given my traits as a Gorn, I do have a pulse weave rifle. It's instructor class energy type. However, since I am a Gorn and we tend to have physical superiority, I primarily use melee weapons which do physical or kinetic damage.
There's two melee weapons I should remind you of. That if you do the Jamhead R chapter, you get to have two really powerful weapons that you can re-engineer to make perfect. And one is basically throwing daggers that you can do as a special skill setup, and then one that involves a massive staff, like blade thing, that you get to play with. That is really cool that you do. So if you like to do physical attacks, there are physical weapons, and I should have mentioned that a long time ago, but I forgot, and you basically just reminded me. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
There are things like you've seen in the episodes already of what certain species use for physical weapons, like a bat lift or a sword or a form of a staff-like weapon already. There are also other types of weapons too, different versions of a staff type. And the latest one is throwing daggers. Those ones are the most popular, at least to my opinion, because I really love them. And I re-engineered mine to have damage times 3, because physical weapons bypass force field shields that players get to have. But if you're doing PvP and you're using a physical weapon, sorry, shields are gone. You can't do anything else. You can't keep a physical weapon from hurting you at all. And there is a form of a projectile-based weapon that's for ground that you get to use, and it's a form of a sniper rifle. And it's very powerful, but you mainly use that type of weapon for the Borg. And when you use it against the Borg, it's quite easy. And it makes it really, really strong and powerful to use to make it so that people can do certain things and all that.
Well, where have you gone to, Raven?
I went to my bank because I was getting special weapons for me and my bridge officers, because I have multiple different energy type weapons for ground that I can show off.
Well, we might have to save the further demonstrations for next time, because I am running short on time here. But if you step outside with me, we can collaborate one more time.
All right, I'm heading out towards you right now.
And we can demonstrate an example, one of my favorites, of cross-faction cooperation.
I'm sorry, I'm being invited to a group, and I'm declining that request. I don't know who it is, but I'm sorry.
You can tell them that you'll be there shortly. We'll be done here soon.
Well, I just invited them to my group, so I think they're coming with us right now.
Okay. Well, they can join
who they are, but...
Alright, let's begin.
Okay, right now you don't see a weapon on me as we speak, but if I attack an NPC, you should see that I'm throwing items, and I'm throwing daggers, and that's what I'm doing. And I spawn in here 2 drones. And those are the drones that I told you about before that you get to use when you're a non-engineering class. And they're the 2 that you see right next to me. One is looks like a bow and arrow, and the one looks like a little ball with a tiny little ball and a little stick on the lower half of its body. And you saw like different energy types: anti-proton and polaron and disruptor and plasma, all rolled into one. Right now, I'm not fighting because I'm switching weapons. And you see right now, if he looks at me, I'm using the staff, the ancient one, the special staff that was given to us for the new chapter. It's a really good staff, very powerful, but not as powerful as a certain cannon-based weapon that I have, which it shoots off a powerful stream of energy. I'm just firing it off in one direction. I'm not really paying attention where I'm hitting. But your secondary attack skill for this weapon is a single beam. It just keeps going until it hits its cooldown. Or unless I hit the button again that activates it. And it's a really powerful attack skill. It does a lot of damage, but you mainly fire in that exact direction that you're facing, unless you turn. You can't go upwards, you can't go downwards, you just go straight forward. That's what this weapon does. And that's kind of a problem that I kind of think, hey, they need to fix. But here's also another weapon. If my alert thingy disappears. Come on, alert thingy, disappear, please. Come on. There it goes. And here we go. Here's my next weapon. And it's a fluidic anti-proton blast. And it has a high density blast version, and if we can quickly run over here towards the worms, I can do a chain attack, because that's what this weapon does, is that when it hits one enemy, the same blast chains around and hits the other NPCs. Are you following me, Josh?
Yep, I'm close behind.
So I'm going to fire off my weapon and use its big attack. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, why didn't it work?
The enemies are probably not close enough to each other.
Or myself, I might not be close. Give me a second here. Let's go over here to this area. We'll find a whole new squad. Here it is. Here's another squad. And I'm firing off, and here it goes. See the chain attack?
I did.
That was it. That was the chain attack. There are other weapons that are like the fluidic one that I'm using that does that same thing out there. You just gotta make sure you look at the skill traits of the weapon itself to see if it does damage-based attacks like that. And like I was telling you about the worms and everything before, and I believe you attacked some of the worms already in the video.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and you see like some of the blasts are hitting towards us. That's one of the big queen mother worms. She's trying to hit us and deal damage to us, but we're a little too far away. But right now I'm moving closer. I'm targeting her, and I'm going to destroy her. They don't have any form of barrier-based shielding at all. And that's what some NPCs, like creatures and or bugs, don't have. Is that. And some of the special skill traits is that I can create a form of a red flame around that worm and kill them and do a lot of damage. Science characters mainly do a performance of dealing damage at the same time they're healing other players and or group members. Engineering does the same form of thing, but by using drones and other various like kit modules to do it for them. Me, I have innate skills to heal others if I choose to do. But there's like really cool ones that like this. Here, I just spawned it. kind of looks like a little black hole, for instance. It's called a solar gateway. And it shoots out solar energy of anti-proton based, and it does a lot of damage. Along with, if Josh, you come over towards me, please.
We'll be over shortly. Oops, wrong button.
I believe I'm right in front of you. You see me phasing in and out? It's called a phasic shard kit module. It gives you a bonus of shielding and HP. Keeps you yourself protected while you're trying to get your skills set up. So you take less damage while you're trying to, wait for the cooldowns to, end. But this is how it works. You just need to set up your kit modules and everything right. And the kit modules that I basically demonstrated for you, the drones, the solar gateway, and the basic shard, Josh here on his character can use those exact items if he wanted to, because they're a universal item. Like how I said, they're universal consoles. Like in the past part of the video, towards the very beginning, you saw a form of a big black hole like blast. That was a universal kit module I bought off the exchange that was worth a lot of money. And when I mean a lot of money, I mean a lot. And because some kit modules and some universal consoles, like the one torpedo-like one I used in the past part of the video, it does cost a lot of money. Some are worth 10 million, some are worth 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, you name it. And to some people, yes, it is hard to raise the amount of money that I was given to use. Technically, the money that I used to get those items was given to me by one of my friends, Kitty. That's what her name is on Discord, and what she's usually called by all of her friends. Her name is Kitty. And she's a very amazing person. She thinks of everyone else but herself. And she's very sweet. But back to the matter at hand, she is like one of the #1 players you would like to go to buy items from, because she'll sell them to you much cheaper than what you would want to pay for them when you're looking on the exchange. You can buy anything on the exchange. And when I mean anything, I mean basically anything. Within reason. If it's an event item, you cannot get it on the exchange until there's a version of it being sold to players that can be sold from players to, other things. Like, for instance, the weapon that you see my character holding, and or the other weapons that his bridge officers are holding, and or what he has held in the previous part, those weapons can be purchased and bought off the exchange. But there are also vendors that can sell versions of those weapons that you can get, but they're only the common rarity. There are multiple different rarities of weapons that need to be said and done and dealt with that you can get. You can upgrade your weapons to get that rarity, but it takes time and a lot of money. Also known as, if Josh opens up his inventory really quick and looks at his assets set up, you can see that there are reputation marks that you can get for special reputations to increase the reputation to get special items and stuff. And then there's the EC. EC is basically the in-game money that you can collect by just killing things and stealing random junk. Then if you scroll down, you can see fleet marks and fleet credits. You deposit fleet marks into a fleet to get fleet credits to buy certain things from a fleet store. And then there's dilithium. Dilithium is something that is also used to buy certain things, but also used to help with crafting and also doing other things as well. Then there's gold pressed latinum used to purchase certain things as well. And then there's salvage. Salvage is helped to use with dilithium to re-engineer items. So if, for instance, if Josh really quick tries to re-engineer an item to show what the re-engineering screen looks like. Did you do that?
Give me a second. If I have one that's eligible. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yep.
How many re-engineering slots are there for that item?
There appear to be 3.
Here we go. For re-engineering, so unlock them, but don't re-engineer the item. Just unlock them and show what you can re-engineer the item to be.
Okay.
There are different skill stats for every item that the items start out with, right off the bat. Some are ones that people really don't like, so they go to switch them to different stats. There's Crit D, I believe is for knockback, or no, that's for critical damage, for like critical severity. There's Crit H, critical chance, and then knockbacks. That's KD3. So it's like knockback times 1, times 2, times 3. Basically, it makes the character in a way. You see how my character, it jumps backwards, basically like that, but it makes them fall down and they're on their back. They can't do anything. And all you have to do is fire like crazy on your weapons and they're gone. Because they can't defend themselves when they're knocked back. That's how it works. You can do that to physical weapons as well as energy-based weapons, projectile weapons. And there is a form of a knockback for ship weapons, but it depends on the type of ship weapon you're using. Like I said, it all depends on what you're using. And you're seeing like in the background, a bridge officer spawned a little item over there. If Josh, you look over to your right, you should be able to see it on your screen.
Yep.
That is what one of the modules that you can get for an engineering officer. And your bridge officers are based on the 3 stats of engineering, science, and tactical. But you're able to train them in like the other types of bridge officers I told you about before for your ships. My bridge officers that I have, I've trained them all into being a miracle worker, a temporal, intelligence, and command, and a pilot. Pilot, you can't really do anything with ground, only space. Sorry.
That's fine.
But that's what you get. But the ground skills and traits for those other 4 are very amazing. And we really can't show you right now because we're technically really out of time, but to see what other things that can be done and used, we'll be doing more videos. Is that correct?
We will be doing more. Yep.
Yes, we'll be doing more videos, and we'll be demonstrating a lot. And when I mean a lot of things, we'll be demonstrating a lot. And I'll be playing around with different multiple ships, mainly on this character, but that you see before Josh here on his character. But I have other characters, but I only have actually 2 others. One's a human, actually a Vulcan Federation Science aligned. And then the other one is a Romulan KDF aligned. That we can do some Klingon-based missions if we decided to. And which I'm kind of hoping we do. Because that would be kind of fun to do. And fun to play with. Because you'll see if you heard of the word Voth before, that's another species that we don't get to, play as, at least not yet. But I have a Voth ship on that character that is really cool, and you can, do a lot of things on. And Josh, where did you go? You disappeared somewhere.
I'm over here.
You left me here alone with all the worms. See, people? He just likes to leave people alone.
Well, I tend to be a loner.
Ah ha ha, very funny, but you're not.
It's true. I used to play, before I met you guys, I played this game pretty much all by myself for over a year.
That also comes to another fact, too, I should really mention before we go, is that some players don't like to help others out when, in fact, they do. Some
What do you mean by that, Raven?
What I mean by that is that some people just like to be left alone, left to their own devices, and just to play the game and enjoy it alone. They don't want anyone to join them. They just want to be left alone. Unless they ask for help and say, hey, I need help. Can someone help me? But that is only it. Nothing more, nothing less. But for me, I don't like that. I don't like being alone. At least not all the time. I prefer to do group things like this. Like this video that we did. We've done, I think, 2 other videos before.
We have.
And in the previous videos, you've possibly seen 2 other players. One we call Scott, and the other one we call Shockwave. They're really nice players, and they love to help out. They love to do a lot of things too, and they're really funny. So if you ever get to meet them in the future yourselves and everything, and you join our fleets that we're in, please feel free to say hi, say hello, and try and have fun. But like all guilds and fleets and most other games, there are rules, and please don't break our rules and just have fun. Like Josh likes to say, like how he just bowed, we all love to have fun here. And I love to say, if I can make my character face the same way and be in the same body length. Okay, there you go. I like to say to you all, live long and prosper and have fun with this game. It's a blast. To some people, it may not be. There are some episodes when you first start out the game, if you're on the Federation side or the Klingon side, that some are glitched. Those will be fixed soon, and hopefully they are. And have fun, enjoy yourselves. And I kind of took over his video. I am sorry, but I'm a talker.
No, that's fine. That's what we need.
Any words you have, Josh, other than what you just said? I kind of interrupted you.
No, that's fine. Any words you ask?
Yes.
Well, nothing really. Just, come join SAW. This game is free to play. If you are bored, and also, this comes from the heart too. Any Trekkies out there, I doubt this video will get much attention anytime soon, if at all. But if there are any Trekkies out there and they have never heard of Star Trek Online or never played it, you deserve to play it. If you want to find out what happens, if you want to find out what happens after Nemesis, this is where you go. Enough whining for more shows, because you obviously know what direction that's going in. Some people like it, some people don't. But I swear to you, if you want the prime timeline, come here. This is where the story is happening.
You can start out from the very beginning. Make a character where it's basically where there's Spock and Captain Kirk and all that. In that exact same time period, you can start out there. Start in that old time period. Use the old-fashioned type of ship. Have fun with it. And then after a while, because it's a form of a temporal character, when you start out with that type of temporal character, after a while within the story arc, you get brought back to the future by a temporal officer himself, and made yourself a temporal officer and given special abilities and skills that normal officers like Josh here on his character or my character here can't really do, unless we decide to create a character like that and do it. In which we can show you what it is, like one of us, or I think Josh, because I technically myself, I don't do videos of my own, because I'm not really good at it. I don't have the setup for it. Sorry. But if Josh decides to, he can make a Federation character in that form of a story arc, do it just for you, so you see what it looks like. And if you want to know what to do, and like I said before in the past, hey, start out on every class type at once.
I'll tell you what.
And do whatever you see fit.
There is a YouTuber by the name of Brent Justice. In my opinion, the best Star Trek Online YouTuber.
Is he the one who has a character named Doctor Who?
Yep, he is the Doctor. He does reviews for every single ship that comes out. He has covered the story missions many times over. He's the guy you want to see. I'm just here my videos are just about having fun. If you want a professional review and in-depth look into Star Trek Online, go to Brent Justice. He puts the time in. Because I tell you what.
Yes. He is an amazing guy. I actually go to him when I'm confused on a certain mission. And by the way, this game has a lot of confusing missions involving puzzles that you have to do for computer stuff. And you may get stuck. Sometimes I get stuck for an hour on end when I first started playing this game. I couldn't do the mission. I was stuck. But until I saw, what's the name of the guys again? I'm just very sorry. What was his name again?
Brent Justice.
Brent Justice, also known as the Doctor.
Also known as Justice Game.
He helped me out big time with his video on how to do the certain puzzles. And he goes into perfect detail on what to do and how to do it just right. And sometimes certain missions really don't matter what class type you are. You know that I believe he does all former class types for every side. If I'm saying that right.
Class type for every
side for Klingon and Federation and Romulan.
Oh, every side. Oh, I thought you said psi as in like PSY. No. He does videos for every faction. Yep, he's done the Klingon story, the Romulan story, Federation story. Yep.
He's done it all.
I've actually, for a little while, did some story missions. I have one that is unfinished, and I have 4 that have not been made public, and 5 that have, about the Klingon storyline, and that was mainly for my dad, who didn't have a lot of time to play the game. Who still doesn't, unfortunately, have a lot of time to play the game, but it's there, and what I do is, I basically bring attention to things that would normally interest my dad or anyone else that may be watching, and I also add, in some of them, I've added clips from the shows and also music that enhances certain moves. In fact, Raven, you and I could probably, before I leave, check out, a scene from one of those videos just so you can see what I have done, how I've altered it.
Which I will, and there are also other things too that you should also understand really quick before we go. Is that what I've been talking about, the reputation things? When you fill up the items needed, if you open up a reputation store and like start one of the little thingies really quick, so they'll see what to fill in. As for instance, I don't care what one you choose, but on my end, I'm doing the gamma, and I click it, I click select, and I select the same one twice, so that I can do it again on the next one. And then some involve placing energy credits, some do experience, and then some do the marks for that exact tree or whatever reputation that you're doing. And every time you fill it up, you get a box, if you will. This box has an item that's from their store. So each one of these reputations has a special store that represents a special energy type of weapon. Some weapons are space, some are ground, some are physical, some are energy based. It all depends.
Well, we'll have to wrap it up here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I have no goodbye.
Live long and prosper. Have fun, everyone. Bye.